Good morning. Welcome back to MISHMAS. I have been enjoying this morning's coffee. I like this one. This one is from Portland, Oregon. I think the roaster name is Coava, I think. It's a Bouche de Noël blend, roast levels medium and cozy. Tastes like chocolate Yule log cake, honey crisp apple, and toffee. So it's supposed to be like toffee and rich chocolate ganache swirled together, topped with hints of bright fruit and a festive, spicy finish. I really like this one. I really liked yesterday's. What was yesterday's? That Yeti one. It's kind of similar because it has a chocolatey taste, and then there's a little bit of spiciness in there, and I like that. I like that little bit of spiciness. The coffee that I generally drink, every morning, it doesn't really have that. It really is just kind of like rich and chocolatey. It's kind of like a one note, which I'm fine with. But I like this kind of like spicy finish. Yeah, it's really good. I have been really enjoying these beanbox coffees. I think there's only been one or two that I'm like, not for me. But most of them, I feel like I can really taste, like the notes that they're describing. And I got this beanbox coffee because they had the option of ground coffee. There was another coffee advent calendar. I think I found it on Food 52. It had a beautiful box. I don't know if it was 12 or 25 days, one or the other, but it was whole beans. And I thought, well, I guess I could grind them up every morning. You know what? I'm so glad I didn't do that. I know the coffee's fresher that way. But in the morning when you just want coffee, sometimes I just don't want like this whole big process. I just want to throw in the hot water, let it sit for a while, and then just drink it. So anyway, that's why I kind of landed on this bean box, because they had the option for whole bean or ground coffee. So I figured, if I mentioned it to you guys and you wanted to do this along with me and you prefer whole bean, you still had that option. So anyway, enjoying that, I'm going to make myself some breakfast, and let's do the advent calendars. And then I'll get ready and kind of talk about what we have in store for today. All right, day 10. Let's see, I think it's down here. Here we go. Whoops. Oh, peony and blush suede, a classic. Okay, time for décolleté. Where is number 10? Where is number 10? 12, 14. This is a true test. This is like a Where's Waldo situation here. Oh, here, it's all the way at this end over here. Ooh, the Décolleté Lift Dimension. This is a plump and firm emulsion, extra rich. Ooh, I can't wait to try this. Good morning, Cicely. We've got number 10 today. Oh. Ooh, the Fito Lip Twist, Tinted Balm in number 1 nude. You guys, this is one of my favorite tinted lip balms of all time. And mine is so old and grubby. I'm excited to toss that away and replace it with this. And this is a full size. Oh, this is exciting. Wow. All right. YSL, what you got for us today? Number 10. Ooh, this is Gentle Makeup Remover. It's a biphasal one. It's like that Lancome one. I've never tried this before. So exciting. Okay, finally, Diptyque. Day 10. It's right here. And we've got the Votive, the Photo Bois. I could have guessed by the color of the wax. It's always this beautiful light gray. Love it. This is the one that smells like wood fire, smoke. So good. Love this. Well, hello. Do you hear that sound? That humming in the background? So I'm just sitting down to do this Best of Beauty for 2023. And this giant truck has just parked themselves right in front of my window right there. So what you're hearing is with the door closed. That's how loud it is. I don't know why. It literally happens almost every single time I sit down to film. Oh, is he moving? Or turning off his engine? So I'm just gonna put my makeup on while I wait for these guys to move along. I think there are landscapers, are like HOAs Landscaping. I think they're actually turning branches into like wood chips. Are you serious? Usually they're leaf blowing, which is like the bane of my existence now. But now, yeah, I feel like I hear them grinding something. Hopefully by the time I'm done doing my makeup, they will have at least moved on to a different part of the neighborhood. Okay, guys, I think the landscapers have left. Let's get into this list because it's fairly long. They may come back. So we're talking about Best of Beauty 2023. And when I do these videos, I talk about the best makeup that was released, the best makeup I've tried that was released in 2023. Obviously, I cannot try all the makeup out there, but this is my best of list of all the things that were actually released this year. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. So the first thing I want to talk about is something I just want to get out of the way because you guys have heard me go on and on about this product. I'm fairly certain it was released this year. That's the Dr. Jart Premium BB. Now, I think this is like a reformulation or maybe like a retooling of this because I think it used to be an SPF 50. Now it's an SPF 40. In any case, I use the shade Fair Light. I have it on my skin today. I love it. I've talked about it on my channel a gazillion times, but if it's your first time here and you've never heard me talk about this product, welcome. I love this product because it's so natural on my skin. I feel like it perfects my skin without a lot of coverage, which happens to be my preference. I'm not a full coverage kind of gal. I really like a light coverage, something where you can see my natural skin peeking through, but I do need something to kind of just even out my skin tone, brighten it up a little bit, and this is incredible. This shade, this Fairlight shade, comes out of the bottle very cool toned, very gray looking. And when I first used this, I remember thinking, I don't know if this is gonna match me, but it doesn't state that this is one of those like skin tone matching products, but I feel like after blending it in, it really kind of morphs into my skin tone. I don't see any of that really super cool gray toned tinted moisturizer on my face at all. It's really quite magical. So I just find this to be very smoothing, very tone evening without a lot of coverage. It has a wonderful texture. It's very lotiony, kind of creamy texture. This is not a squeezy bottle. This is actually quite hard, and there's a pump top. I'm on my second bottle. If you did watch one of my earlier MISHMAS videos, I can't remember which one, I actually finished my previous bottle and Dr. Jart had already sent this to me in PR and I could not be happier because I think this shade is sold out currently at Sephora. But I'll link to it down below. I'll link to all of these products down below in my description box. Of course, there's always the YouTube like products now where you can like view products or shop products. That's on the screen or down below, kind of depending on what device you're watching me on. So anyway, just wanted to get that out of the way. You all knew, if you guys watch me for a long time, you all knew that was gonna end up on the list. So that's one. The next product is one that I actually have not worn in a while because this came out earlier in the year. And of course, I'm busy kind of testing out new products and trying out new things. But this is the Ritual Defee 3-Drop Weightless Serum Foundation. And I have the shade, let's see, Potion number 125. This is a very thin concealer, so it comes in this dropper-like packaging, and it has this button at the bottom. It actually says, press me. So you just turn this upside down, and you can see that the foundation will start to run. Right now, there's like a drip hanging out of it. So it's a very thin foundation, and it has like a serum-like texture, maybe a little bit on the oily side. I don't know if you can see that. I have very dry skin, and this just felt so good on my skin. And this is another product, I would say this has a little bit more coverage, a little bit more pigmentation than the Dr. Jart, but it's still so perfecting and so smoothing on the skin, and it wore really well all day. I was really pleasantly surprised at how much I loved this serum foundation. I think this shade 125, if you use me as shade reference, I think it's a little bit deep for my skin tone. I can make it work, I just have to bring it down my neck or whatever, but I should probably pick up a lighter shade. But this is, I don't know if you can even see it on the back of my skin. It just leaves your skin looking like baby skin. I don't know how else to describe it, like baby skin. So really love this serum foundation, and I need to pull this back out because like I said, I haven't worn it in a while. So that is a wonderful one. And then I had to mention the Clé de Peau Radiant Cushion Foundation. Now, this definitely has more coverage than the previous two foundations I just spoke about. So I believe this came out I don't know, around springtime, summertime. And I have the shade B20. Here is what it looks like, the cushion foundation packaging. Let me just do a swatch of this because if I remember correctly, I do think, again, the shade worked for me, but it was a little bit, yeah, it's like a little bit deep for me. Anyway, this Radiant Cushion Foundation, it is, do you see that? It's so smoothing. It's so perfecting. It gives me like mannequin skin. It is absolutely gorgeous. And they did call this a Radiant Cushion Foundation, and it does have, I mean, it's definitely not matte at all, but it's not, what I'm trying to say is if you have oilier skin, I don't think you should shy away from this just because the word radiant is in there. It's not oily feeling. It's not super shiny. It's just not matte, basically. And here, and I think you can tell from the back of my hand that it really is just very smooth. It's probably like a little bit dewier than just something I would describe as skin-like, but it is gorgeous. It's comfortable on the skin. And like I said, it just gives me mannequin skin because it has a little bit more coverage than those other two I talked about. So it's really perfecting. It's gorgeous. It's one of the foundations I reach for if I'm like going out and to an event or something, or to a really nice dinner. So I really love this Radiant Cushion Foundation. It has a little bit of the Clé de Peau like rose fragrance, a little bit, but it doesn't bother me. It dissipates pretty quickly and it's very light, but I did want to mention it. All right, let's move on to another product you guys know I was going to talk about. This Makeup Forever HD Skin face palette. So it has 12 products in here. They're all cream products. And basically we have some complexion products over here on the left. And then over here on the right, we have some sculpting and highlighting products. Now I basically use the top 4 here to conceal, to spot conceal, to use in lieu of foundation, to use on top of foundation. This product just, it works well all the time. If my skin is well moisturized, dry as hell that day, if I've put foundation down, if I haven't yet, it just performs really well every single time I use it. So like I said, these 4 I use as sort of base products, and then I'll use this as contour. I've used this product as highlight. This one is a little bit too white for me in terms of highlight, but I can mix it with these two. And all these products, you know, you can mix up. I like to actually mix a couple of these shades up to get my perfect sort of under eye. You guys have seen me do it a gazillion times. I'll start with this one and I'll go to either this one or this one on top. Anyway, I love this. I love it so much. The texture is perfect. It's really high coverage, but it doesn't feel cakey. It doesn't feel thick. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I don't know what kind of magic they poured into here, but it is superb, absolutely superb. And then the concealer product that has completely won my heart this year is the Surratt Dewdrop Concealer. I have been using this nonstop ever since I got it. This basically dethroned my Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer, which I still love. It is like in place 1.5. This is the one that I travel with, that I bring with me, that I just reach for every single day. If I'm gonna put concealer on, I have it underneath my eyes. It doesn't crease, it doesn't sink into fine lines, it doesn't look dry, it doesn't get too oily, like nothing. It looks exactly the way it looks when you first apply it all day. It is absolutely incredible. It has a sponge tip and you just turn, product comes out the tip. I wear shade number 3. I also have shade number 2, which I use if I really want to like brighten up my under eye. The 3 is great for just a little bit of like light brightening. You know, it's like a little bit lighter than my skin tone, but it is wonderful. The texture of it is, I wouldn't say it's as thin as like a serum concealer. It's maybe the same as like a typical concealer that comes in like a doe foot applicator. It has that kind of texture to it, which I really like. Just blends in easily. I can use my fingers, I can use a brush, I can use a sponge. It really is just such a good concealer. It has never ever let me down. So that's the Surratt Dewdrop Concealer. Let's talk about bronze. So I've been playing around with a lot of bronzers. I've been enjoying quite a few, but the one that really kind of stuck out to me this year, and the one that I'm actually wearing on my skin right now, is the one from Hermes. This is the Hermes Plein Air bronzer. I think there's a longer name, and this is in shade 01. I think there's maybe 4 different shades, but I just went ahead and got the lightest. And there are like 3 different tones in here. You can see that make up the H. And I just swirl my brush in the whole thing. I don't kind of like pick and choose which powder I pick up. But I really like the tone of this. It's light, but it does a little something to kind of warm up my complexion. And I really, really like the finish of this bronzer. Now, when you look at it in the pan, it really doesn't look like much, but it just has a really soft, like demi-matte, demi-satin, kind of somewhere in the middle there kind of finish. So it doesn't make my skin look overly shiny or whatever, but it doesn't look dry. And I just really, really like the tone as well. It is fairly neutral. It has just a little peachiness in there, which I like. It is not orange, but peach. So it's a little bit closer, in my mind, a little bit closer to red than it is to yellow. So it just has a little bit more of like a natural kind of glow to it. And I love it. It just works really well. I don't have to be careful using it. I just dip my brush in, brush it all over, and I love it. It's great. So that's the one bronzer that really stuck out to me this year. Okay, so let's talk about blushes. So the one blush I remember, or the one blush palette I should say, I remember just reaching for over and over again. It just sat on my vanity for a long time. I never put it away, or if I did, it came right back out. And I believe this is out of stock at the moment, but there is a join the waitlist button if you are interested in this. This is the Blush and Glow palette from Hourglass. So this is one of their ambient lighting edit palettes, but there's no bronzer, and it just has blushes and highlighters in here. And I went into all 3 of the blushes quite a bit. This one is Mood Flush. So this you can get in a single pan if you're interested in one that is a little bit cooler toned. It's a little bit closer to a plum. It's very mauvey. This one is Blush in Soft Flush. And then this one is the Blush in Sunset Glow. I love, love, love this Sunset Glow one. I don't know if you can get this individually. But anyway, I really love this palette because I love all the blushes and I really, really love the highlighters in here. This highlight is actually a strobe powder. It's an incandescent strobe light. It's a nice powder to set your under eye concealer with. And then these 2 are really bright highlights. These are metallic strobe powders. I can never remember the names. This is a strobe powder. These are metallic strobe powders. So hopefully this will be made available again. But yeah, if you're interested, there's that join the waitlist button, but I apologize for mentioning something that's out of stock. I know that can be frustrating for you, so I apologize. Okay, some other blushes that I love, and this is actually a blush that I'm wearing today, and I almost forgot about these, but man, did I go hard with these, and I loved these, and now that we're looking at the end of the year, I'm like, yeah, these were really good blushes. So these are the Say Glow Sculpt blushes. So these are cream blush with quite a bit of highlighty goodness in there. So this is shade Mauve Glow, and this is what I have tapped on my cheeks. And I love, love, love cheek products that aren't matte, basically, that have either a little bit of a satin finish, they have a little bit of a, metallic sheen to them. This one is Peach Glow. Isn't that gorgeous? These are the 2 that I use the most. This one you can imagine I used a lot in the summertime. Isn't that just gorgeous? But the Mauve Glow is one that I use, all year round. I've tried using these with a brush, and it's fine, it works, but I think these work best with your fingers. I think the product just goes on, it's like more effective with your fingers. So I really, really loved those blushes. Highlights, I have a lot of highlighters to talk about. You guys, just when I thought like the highlighter moment was over, it's dead, they just keep coming out with them and it's like a bee to honey. I just cannot stay away from highlighters. So let's start with these guys. These are the Westman Atelier Super Loaded Liquid Highlighters. So these came out over the summertime. They actually came out when I was in London, and I just have 2 shades. So there are 3 shades altogether. Peau de Rosé, Peau de Soleil, and Peau de Pêche. So I use Peau de Rosé and Peau de Pêche the most. Peau de Soleil is the one that has a bronzier tint, or if you have a deeper skin tone, it's a great highlight. Peau de Rosé is a product that I love to use underneath my eyes as like a primer, and it just lights up your whole face. It is so smoothing. It's not, it's not this like correcting type of product. This is a liquid highlight, but what it does is kind of gives the appearance of smoothness. It really, really like brightens the area because it is a highlight. Let me do a little swatch here. And if you put down just a light layer of this, there, do you see it? It gives you like dolphin skin. You put down a light layer of this, and then you put down a concealer, like the Dewdrop concealer, and you just tap over it. Oh my gosh, like I said, it just lights up your entire face. It's so gorgeous. And because this has that gorgeous finish, it really does this nice kind of like smoothing effect. You know, people have asked me, it's like, oh, I have really dark circles. Is it gonna do that? This isn't a corrector. This isn't a product that's going to like fill your lines or anything like that. It's just gonna give you just a really beautiful ethereal appearance. So love those highlights. And of course, you can use them as a regular like liquid highlight. They're just absolutely wonderful. Let me do a swatch of Peau de Pêche, which is the one that I like to use on my face. So Peau de Rosé under my eyes, Peau de Pêche on my face. So there's Peau de Pêche. Much more like my skin tone. The Peau de Rosé is very, very brightening. So the Peau de Pêche is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I don't have it on my face today because I wanted to use something else, but I love, love, love those highlights. And you know, they're liquid highlights, so they're very versatile. You can mix a drop in with your foundation if you want a little bit of glow. You can put some down before you put foundation down if you just want to like maybe like underlight some areas of your face. And like I said, that Peau de Rosé is great underneath the eyes. Just wonderful. I love that product. And it has like a really beautiful texture, a little bit on the thinner side. It definitely has that gooey, like squalane characteristic to it. And I really like it because I feel like it kind of stays put. It's not too thin. So love those. And then of course I had to mention the Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Seeker highlight. This one was just released, I want to say a few months ago, but this is a dupe for the Amrezy highlight that Anastasia Beverly Hills came out with. And it's, you know, it's a baked gel powder product. It goes on beautifully. It's super bright. Let me do a swatch. And I feel like we've all been waiting, look at that, all been waiting for a dupe of the Amrezy to come out because, I mean, that was a hit, but it was limited edition. And so it went away. And I was, like I said, I was looking back on my videos and my suspicion was they came out with this because, I don't know, the contract with Amrezy was up or like the timeline they set down for the, you know, for their collaboration was over. And on my video where I talk about that highlight, it said 5 years ago. And I was like, I bet that was the timeline that they could kind of come back out with this. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that because we all loved and still love that Amrezy highlight. And now you can get it. So that is wonderful. And then the highlight that I have on today is this Tom Ford Soleil Neige Glow Highlighter in number 2, Grand Paradis. So they came out with 2 in this Soleil Neige collection. And one is like a lighter pink. That one's a little bit too frosty for my taste. I think it would look gorgeous on someone with like a cooler skin tone or just anyone who likes a brighter, whiter kind of highlight. But I like mine a little bit closer to my skin tone. So that's what I have on my skin today. And what I think I love about this particular highlight is it's a little bit sheerer than the Anastasia Beverly Hills. So I have it really kind of just kind of tapped on and then brushed out, and I get this very, very soft, glossy versus wet kind of look. And you can build this up, but you can leave it really subtle if you want, which I am just overjoyed with. It's so beautiful. The finish is so, so gorgeous. And then this is a total newcomer, and this is a cream highlight, but this is from Kjaer Weis, and this is in the Signature Glow palette, where there is a cream highlighter here in rose gold. It is so beautiful and so stunning, and you can see how pink it is, but when I tap it over blush and I just kind of tap it like at the top of where my blush is, it just blends beautifully. And when you like, you know, throw your face into the light, you'll just see the reflection. Do you see that? You'll just see the reflection, so it's not too dark. Oh my God, it's absolutely stunning. I've been wearing this nonstop, which is why I had to like change it up today. But this one is absolutely gorgeous, and I love Kjaer Weis's cream products. They're just so smooth. They're so smooth. They're so beautiful. I love them, and I love this palette. It's so gorgeous and petite. So those are, I think, sorry, I'm looking at my list over here. Those are all of the highlights I wanted to talk about. I've got a lot of eyeshadows to talk about. Let's get into those. The first ones I want to mention are the Esom Artistry palettes. Now, Esom came out with a whole bunch of palettes this year. All of those are wonderful too. But these eyeshadow palettes are just so incredible. This one is number one Balance eyeshadow palette. So this one is all mattes. So the lid slides off. You can take it off completely. And then each shadow is actually refillable. Let me see if I can pull this out. So I can pull the back cover out and you can see how I can pop out all of these shadows. So it's like ingenious packaging, first of all. And then look at this all matte palette. So I actually have this shade on like all over my lids, and I use some shadows from like a whole bunch of different palettes just so we could play around today. But I love, love, love this all matte palette. I feel like this should be a staple in every makeup artist bag, every makeup lover's bag. It's just great. It's wonderful. The texture is wonderful. It's very, very silky. The pigmentation is the right level, not too much, not too little. They blend out beautifully. They're just so easy to work with, and I love it. So that is number one. The other artistry palette they came out with is number two, which is called Intensity eyeshadow palette. And this one are all like metallic satin shades. And you can see, I love these two. I love this one. And so I'll throw on some of the matte shades from the Balance palette, and then I'll just accent with some of these shimmer shades. And again, same thing with the formula of this palette, same idea, just really, really gorgeous. Really easy to use, just blend out beautifully. The shine is gorgeous. These are products created for makeup artists. So they last all day, they don't wear down, they don't act funny, they are professionals. These guys are professionals. So I wanted to highlight those two palettes. They've really grown in importance in my collection. I feel like I like reach for them and I think of them like more and more the more I use them. So I just love them. The Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette, of course, I could not have made this video without mentioning this palette. And I have this shade Whisper. That's like the lighter metallic shade you see on my inner corners. That is Whisper. But look at this palette. It's just such a wonderful everyday palette. You've got some matte shades, you have some satin shades, you have metallic shades, you have topper shades. They're just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And I love the new Xenon palette, the cool toned palette. I'm a cool toned fan, but that one is a little bit less versatile, I would say, than this one. This one will just give you a really beautiful everyday kind of look, where the Xenon palette, even if you use like the more subtle shades, it's very striking because the tones are so cool, but I do love that one as well. And then this palette as a whole, I would say is a little bit lighter in tone than the Glam palette. That Glam palette I still love. I would have a really hard time if I had to choose between the two. I'd have a really hard time, but the Glam palette is a little bit more dramatic. It's a little bit deeper in tone. So this one, I think, if you have a lighter skin tone like me, this one is great for every day. So love that palette. And then I wanted to mention the Clé de Peau quads, because these were all reformulated, new color stories were created, and I love, love, love this one. And I believe this is Ocean Sunrise. I can't remember the number though. These are all refillable, so I'm just popping out the quad here. It's number 4, Ocean Sunrise. Every palette has a primer shade. So the lower left-hand shade, so this really kind of pearly looking one, in that position in all of the quads, that's the primer shade. And Benjamin Puckey, who's a color director for Clé de Peau, he explained to me that this one shade here is like it's almost like a dough. It's kneaded and it's like kind of pressed into the pan. So it has a very different, almost putty-like texture versus the rest of the shades in here, which are a pressed powder. But that like primer shade is amazing. It works really, really well as a primer. I thought, oh, maybe it's a little gimmicky or whatever, like when there's one cream shadow kind of added to an entire like powder eyeshadow palette or whatever. You know, it's just like a little like eye-catching something. But this primer, or the primers in all of the palettes, work beautifully. They really, really help enhance the shades. They help like the longevity, like all of it. They help like the application. They just blend so much more quickly. And that's not to say that these 3 powder shadows don't work beautifully on their own. They do, and they're gorgeous and they're pigmented and they work well. But the primer just helps it along a lot more quickly. So I just love these quads. So this number 4 Ocean Sunrise is probably the one that I use the most. And this dark brown shade is the shade that I have just deepening up my outer corners. Blends beautifully, plays well with all of these other eyeshadows. The other one that I use the most is this one. And you can see this primer shade has a little bit of like a lilac kind of undertone. So they all go with the palette that they're in, obviously. This one is number 3, Sun-Dried Driftwood. And this one has like a purpley kind of tone to it. But those are the 2 that I wear the most. I love them all. They're really beautiful, but those are the 2 that I reach for the most. And some other quads, these are latecomers as well, but I love, love, love these YSL Couture Mini Clutches. So I first purchased number 100. You can see this is like beat to hell. It is gorgeous. It's really easy to use. The shadows in here are very soft, and usually I'm not the biggest fan of that. I don't know if you guys remember, but ABH came out with those eyeshadows. This is years ago. And it was, you know, we all know about the subculture drama. Those shadows were way too soft. But ABH powders in general, or eyeshadows, I should say, in general, were very, very soft. And sometimes I liked it and sometimes I didn't. But it works. It really, really works for these YSL shadows. They're very, very soft. But there's something about them. They're not, you know what it is? They're not as powdery as a lot of other softer shadows I've used. So they don't feel like messy or just this like you start applying it and there's this like cloud of product. They really behave well, but they are very soft product, which you can probably see. You could probably tell. But that's number 100. And then during the Sephora VIB sale, I got this one, which is number 300. And these don't want to stay open. And this one has like that warmer kind of camel color, which I really enjoy. But I like how they all have some mattes and then like a bright metallic shade in there. So just a really great, easy to use quad. I just have come to really, really love these YSL quads. I do want to mention, I did get the YSL quad for the holidays. This is number 910. And this is the one that has like more metallics in there. This I did not like at all. This was a messy kind of soft powder situation. It was, I won't, you know, it wasn't like poof when I put them on my lid, but there was a lot of fallout. It just, these needed to be a little bit creamier. These shadows needed to be a little bit denser. So I would not go for this. I would go for just the regular line. All right, I've got a lot of lip products. Let's start with what I have on my lips, which is of no surprise. I've been wearing this lip combo pretty much nonstop for the past couple of months. This is the Farah Homidi Smudge and Contour Lip Pencil in Dew. And I love it because I just find it so natural. I can even wear this by itself if I line and color in a little bit and just, you know, smush my lips together. It's so great. And with the U Beauty, the Plasma Lip Compound in the shade Fawn. Now, the Plasma Lip Compound is not a new product in 2023. However, these tinted versions are new and they have come out with so many different shades. And then the Farah Homidi lip palettes, I think these are called the Essential Lip Compact, if I'm not mistaken. But the shade Nude 1 is one that I've been reaching for quite a bit. And in a previous video, I actually used this as blush because I saw Farah herself use it as blush in, I don't know, it was like on Instagram. I think it was for like a campaign or something. And I used it as blush and it's great. It stayed put all day. It like did not budge. It's not dry, but there's like a density to this product. So it's really, really well pigmented. And I would just kind of like tap to pick up pigmentation and tap. I wouldn't like get in there and like rub too hard because I think you're just gonna pick up too much product and you don't need it. So yeah, I would just tap it on my cheeks and do the same thing for my lips. And this top product is a primer for the lips. So it really does a nice job like smoothing. So that's Nude 1, which is the one that I've been reaching for, but let me show you red one, which is a gorgeous, look at that. Look at that red. It almost glows, doesn't it? I have to use this. This is definitely a shade I'll use more in the summertime, but yeah, I've got to throw that on because that's like my kind of red. So those products from Farah Home Beauty, I think they came out in the springtime, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, love, love, love her lip products. And then the U Beauty, let's go back to that. So I've been using the shade Fawn, like I said. This is just the plain old lip plasma. So it comes in like this light gray. But the other three shades that I really enjoy is Lady, and let's just squeeze out a little bit of these. The next one is Rose, which comes in this light pink tube. And then the other one, I would say this one is like second to Fawn. This one is Sunset, and this comes in the peach colored tube. So there they are. Lady, this is Sunset, and Rose is in the middle there. They're very lightly tinted, which is why I'm not even blending them out, because you wouldn't even be able to see like the tone of them. Oh, let me show you Fawn, sorry. Fawn, it's on my lips, but let me just squeeze a little bit out. So it is, I want to say, the deepest. So this one is Fawn. And that's what I have on my lips, but that's how sheer it is. So these I consider skincare because that's what the plasma lip compound is. It's supposed to repair your lips and smooth out, you know, the lines on your lips and keep your lips plump or whatever. And then they just added these tints to them, which is really what brought me around. Not that I don't like the plain one, but the tinted ones, those are the ones that I can wear alone. So I have been loving them, and I feel like my lips are in pretty good shape because I do wear them quite often. So that's the U Beauty Plasma Lip Compound. And like I had mentioned, Clé de Peau has been like reformulating, repackaging most of their line. I think they're just redoing it all. And they did the same to their lipsticks. So I feel like for most of the spring, early summertime, I was wearing their new lipsticks. So this is the shade number 11, Triumphant Tawny. I love this shade. And then the other shade that I've been loving is number 12. No, I'm sorry. So Triumphant Tawny is number 11, and then number 10 is Tantalizing Tan. So here's Tantalizing Tan. You can see it's a little warmer, it's a little peachier, and here's Triumphant Tawny, number 11. This is definitely the one that I have used the most, but this is definitely a close second. So 10 and 11. And just, they're so comfortable. They're really comfortable, really, really smooth going on, but not overly silicone-y, which I feel like in time kind of dries out my lips. Yeah, they're just very moisturizing. They're very creamy. You know, I have to reapply them after a meal or whatever, but I wouldn't say they just kind of like disappear over the day. They're just, yeah, they're just rock solid lipsticks. So love those. Just a, you know, wonderful, like all of the Clé de Peau reformulations and repackaging of everything. I was really nervous because I loved their eyeshadows before, but I love them even more now. The lipsticks I loved before, love them even more now. So they just did such an amazing job, like redoing everything. So here is, I think these are the Cream Rouge, and then this is the Cream Rouge Matte with the frosted bottle. I'll put the proper names down below in the description box, but I can't read the labels, they're too small. They're way too small. But the Cream Rouge one that I enjoyed the most is 201. This is just a really beautiful, very pretty, kind of peachy pink. That's that one. And then this one, just really, this is not a shade that I wear often, but I love this color so much. This is in the matte formula, and this is 115 Cordyline. It is just this super, super cool toned red shade. Isn't that so cool? It's like cool toned, but it doesn't get too purpley. I feel like a lot of cool toned reds go right into plum very quickly, but this one kind of remains a red. There's just a lot of like gray in there. Oh, it's just gorgeous. So yeah, all of those Clé de Peau lip products I love and went very hard with this year. Okay, another lip product that really, really impressed me, and this was over the summertime, were these Tower 28 Juice Bomb Tinted Lip Balms. Now I use this shade, which is Squeeze, the most. It's like, you know, an orangey kind of red color. So it's this guy. It is very juicy, like the name suggests. Very, very juicy. Very moisturizing, very light, well pigmented, as you can see. I thought they were going to be a little bit more sheer, but you can really see the shade. Now, what really surprised me about these was their longevity. They stayed on better than any kind of like tinted lip balm, gloss, anything like that. Better than anything in this category, I find. They just stayed well on my lips. I didn't use a lip liner. I just threw this on thinking, oh, it's like a little, little tinted lip balm. And I remember I went out for the day and I checked in my rearview mirror when I was like coming back home, and I was like, oh my God, this is still on. I was sure I didn't have anything left on my lips, but I did. So I was super impressed with these. And the shades are really pretty and they're comfortable. They are a tinted lip balm. They feel great on the lips. I was just really impressed with them. So wanted to mention those. And then I had to mention these Make Beauty, I think these are called the Cream Supreme High Pigment Lipsticks. And there's a shade that I wore a lot that I cannot find. I don't know what I did with it, but I remember the name. It's Atmospheric. And it was a very warm toned, caramelly kind of brown. And those browns don't always look that great on me because they are so warm. There's a lot of orange in them, but I loved this shade and I hope I can find it. If I can find it, I'll like stick a swatch in here, but I looked everywhere. Anyway, I pulled out a couple of the other shades that I really enjoyed. This one is, oh my God, why are these stickers so small? I think this one is called Catalyst. And this one is a deep chocolatey brown. I'm gonna have to pull that out now that it's winter time. But Atmospheric was like warmer than this. And then this one I wore quite a bit. This one is called Equilibrium. So that one's just like a nice kind of rosy pink. Now they have this slim stick profile. They're very moisturizing, very slick, but they're very highly pigmented. It like literally is like a one swipe situation. These are refillable. They're very creamy, really comfortable, very highly pigmented. I wouldn't say they're long wearing, but they do hang on for quite a bit. So I love these. And like I said, if I can find that Atmospheric color, I'll stick in a swatch here. I'm so annoyed. so annoyed. Okay, so one last lip product. This is, I believe, new this year. YSL comes out with a lot of lipsticks and they're all kind of similar. But this one I enjoyed very much. This is the Rouge Volupte Candy Glaze. So this isn't the shine or anything. This is the Candy Glaze. And I love this shade 15. You can see it looks pretty beat up. But this is just a really great nude shade. And these are incredibly soft, incredibly moisturizing. And these, similar to the Tower 28, I think the Tower 28 has better longevity. I don't know if you can tell, but there's like a little bit of thickness to this formula. So it kind of like grips your lips. It's not just kind of this like thin, very lightly tinted situation. It's really like a glaze. Glaze is actually the perfect term for this, because it has that kind of like frosty glaze to it. And I love how it just like hugs my lips and kind of stays put. Like with such a soft kind of formula and like that kind of shine that it has, you would think it would be kind of messy or like one of those lip products that like ends up on your teeth, but that's not the case with this. It really kind of, yeah, like it just holds onto your it grips your lips. I am obviously delirious because I've been talking forever, but that is it for my Best of Beauty 2023. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know what some of your favorites were. I wish I could have just kept going because there's a ton, especially foundations. There were a ton of really good ones, but I really wanted to kind of narrow it down for you guys, of course. But anyway, I will see you in tomorrow's MISHMAS video. Bye.